Hi, so I have another book recommendation. This one is an excellent read. I tried over and over to try to like find the title to it, but hopefully someone will, I don't know. Like I said, I get my books from Goodwill, but I just picked this up and it was in the bag. And I mean, this book is so amazing. Hopefully, if I describe it, somebody will help me find the title. Or if you want to read it yourself, you can go ahead and find the title. But this book is so amazing. Start off, it's a young lady. She is like really, I'm not sure anyway, so she is with her family, her mom and her two sisters. And it started off like in California or something like that, where there's palm trees and beaches anyways, right? So she grew up with her mom. She did not know that her mom was like in a secret society or in a secret Easter Star kind of like way, so but her other sisters, for some reason they knew. And she was the middle to the oldest child, but everybody else around her knew except for her. So she, between the age of like 17 to like 23, she stayed with her mom. And during that time, I believe she was like 19, she got pregnant with her first son. So she stayed with her mom. The boyfriend was like kind of like a street guy. He was dealing drugs. So when she got pregnant, like between her 7th and 8th month, he got locked up. And so she had to stay with her mom. So let me tell you what the mom did. The mom only had girls. She never had a boy before. So when the girl got pregnant at like 19, right? The mom would get pregnant, but then she'll have like abortions. The mom would have like 4 or 5 abortions. Never kept a baby. Not until the daughter got pregnant. When the daughter got pregnant, I'm telling you, this book is amazing. When the daughter got pregnant, the mom decided to keep her pregnancy. So the daughter and the mom got pregnant at the same time. So the mom would travel. So the mom was from like, I think she was from like Africa or something like that. So the mom would travel and she would leave the daughter with the rest of the daughters, right? So when the daughter got pregnant a month before her mom. So when the daughter would like stay in the house to take care of like her sister, one day her mother came back from Africa, and her mother and her, they were talking, and like they were packing merchandises, like how they go to like thrift stores and they buy merchandises to send back home. So the mom took a frog, like a bullfrog, the big frogs. The mom decided to throw it on her daughter while she was pregnant. And the mom knew that her daughter was scared of frogs. Even the littlest frog, the daughter would be scared. So she picked up a bullfrog, a big bullfrog, and she threw it on her daughter. And the daughter just went crazy and started like screaming and having like, anxiety. So she left where they were at and she went back in the house. So when she went back in the house, she started crying, and her mom didn't even pay any attention to her crying. So it was the day for her to give birth. Now, the daughter and daughter, the youngest daughter next to her, said it was 4 girls. The daughter that we're speaking of was the second to the oldest. We're talking about the third to the youngest. Her and the youngest were kind of close. So the youngest would come and like sit down, talk to the child in her sister's stomach. So then the birth of the son came. So when the daughter gave birth to the son, right? It's a long story, but it's amazing. The daughter gave birth to the son. The son was so handsome and so beautiful. And the one day the daughter came home and the mom was pregnant. The mom was about to be delivered, right? Give birth to her baby. And they found out that the mom is having a boy. She finally having a boy, and it's the same time that her daughter had a boy. So, the day came for her mom to give birth. Then when the daughter came home with her son, um it was like the lights were out, there was no food in the house, it was raining, it was like terrible. So the daughter was like, man, I can't take this. I won't be able to raise my son in this environment. So she talked to her mom, and her mom was saying like, yeah, so when she went and talked to her mom was like, well, I'm thinking about giving my son up for adoption. And the daughter was like, no, why would you do that? Don't give up, your son. This is our only brother. So her mom was like, oh, yeah, well, can you help me? Because the mom did not know how to speak English that well. So the daughter was like the one that would help the mom out anyways, right, with everything. So the mom was like, well, help me find an adoption center. So the daughter was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want you to give up our brother. And so she refused for like a whole week. And then one day the mom was like, you got to help me find an adoption center so I can go ahead and give him away, because I can't take care of him and the dad is not here, and you're pregnant and you gave birth. It's going to be too much for us. So the daughter was like, okay, fine. So she went and helped the mother find an adoption center. Well, while she was there, somehow the mother did a illusion trick, a trickery trick, where it was the daughter that was giving up her son and not the mother giving up her son. So the mom did like magic on the daughter to give up her son and for the mother to keep her son. But the daughter didn't know, because the daughter's like, okay, this is my first child. I'm not sure what's going on. So then one day the daughter came home and she was just like very hormonal, and she was just like, it's like her mind was just being taken over. And then she took her son and went to the adoption center and gave up her son. And then when she came home, her sister, the one that was close to the child, was like, what happened to our nephew? Where's our, And she was like, I don't know. I gave him up. And they were like, you gave him up? She's like, yeah, I gave him up. So the mother sacrificed the daughter's son by doing magic, by pretending that she's the one that want to go ahead and give her son, but it was all magic. So then the sister and the older sister and the second oldest sister and the youngest sister drew apart, right, because of that. So the younger sister hated her sister because of that. So then years went on. The daughter would stay with the mom, not knowing that her mother was her worst enemy. Like, her mother hated her like it was a battle between them. And she could not understand why. But none she wasn't paying attention to it anyways, right? So then years went on. The daughter was like, well, I gotta make a move. I'm not gonna grow from this place at all. So I gotta move. She was older now, so she's like, something's not right. Something within her told her move. But every time she goes, she always come back because she's so caring about her younger sisters. She wanted to make sure that her youngest sisters, because she was the one who taught her younger sister how to read, how to write, even though herself wasn't good at like English, because remember I told you they were from like Africa or somewhere like that, I don't know. So she would make sure that, because she got made fun of, so she made sure that, her sisters had a level up. I'm telling you, this book, I gotta find the title to it, but it's so good though. So she went and met this guy. He was American and he was from like another city. So this guy was like a trucker. So this guy met her, they fell in love, and he was like, oh, come and stay with me. And she's like, you sure? He was like, yeah, come and stay with me. So they went ahead. She moved from that city where she was at to another city with him. So everything was going right. Everything, they got along together. She asked him, hey, are you sure you want me to move in with you? Are you sure you're not married? Those stuff like that. And he said no, right? So then Valentine's Day came and she got pregnant with her second son. As she got pregnant with the second son, he went ahead and asked her to marry her. And they got married. Everything was going right. But she did not know that this guy and his first baby mother, which was an African lady, had some kind of agreement where she would not put him on child support as long as he was like her secret lover, as long as they like rendezvous or meet at certain time, like when she wants to have sex with him, he would go ahead and oblige by it. She didn't know. She thought, okay, that's his first baby mother and that's it. And she's African also. So she's like, thinking normal stuff. So one day, the African lady brought her kids over. And then the lady, she was like, oh, the husband was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna go out as a family. So the lady had two girls and a boy. So the lady brought the kids over. So the lady did not do the girl's hair. So she went ahead and did the little girl's hair. When she went ahead did the little girl's hair, and they went out as a family. She's like, well, I'm not gonna look good, and my son looking good, and you looking good, and we have these daughters, and their hair's not done. So she went ahead, she bought the little barrettes, and she bought these little things to make sure that the girls' hair were done. So then they went out. The day came for the daughters to go back home. So she and the husband got in the car with the kids, and they met the baby mother, the first baby mother, at like a CVS or a Walgreens, right? The African baby mother saw the girl's hair be done. So the African baby mother was like, why would you allow her to touch my girl's hair? And so it was like, from that day on, the African baby mother, started hating the lady, right? So the husband did not even stand up for his wife. He was just like letting the African baby mother disrespect the lady. That should have been her first red sign that something was going on with them, but she wasn't paying attention because she's like, well, the African baby mother is married and she has a husband, they have kids, so why would there be anything, and he dated numerous women before her. So women, we don't, like, sometimes we don't pay attention to that. So then I was like, wait a minute, that should have been, to me, that should have been like a clear fucking sign, like, hey, something ain't right. If she's cussing you out over her daughter hair because you did it, and your husband is not standing up for you and saying, well, you left the kids, we were going out to eat and she saw that the girl's hair need to be done. So, it was just like, to me, that would have been like my sign to say, red flag number one. But anyway, so the story goes on, right? And to find out that it's been signs given to her, but she, like I said, she wasn't paying attention because she had like other stuff that she had to deal with. So the signs went on, and one day she was home and the African baby mother came to the house, drop off a Jeep at the house, right? And the Jeep was there and the Jeep did not move. So she came home and she's like, hey, the wife came home. She's like, hey, I see this Jeep. Why is this Jeep here? Why has it not moved? And that's when he decided to tell her that it's the African Jeep. And she's like, why would she give you back the Jeep now? So it was jealousy, right? But it was like, again, she wasn't paying attention. This book drama. So, all right. So the next thing went on, like a month or so. They were already married. A month or so went on. So then one day he called her while she was home with the kids, feeding the kids. He called her and was like, "Hey, can you come get me? The ambulance are here." And she's like, "What you mean? What happened?" She's like, "Well, I was dropping off the kids and I'm bleeding." And she was like, "What you mean you bleeding?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding on top of my head and I got hit on top of my head." I was like, what? How did he get hit on top of his head? But I'm reading the story, right? So she was like, "Okay, I'm coming." So she went and met him at the lady house, right? While he was in a Mercedes, like I think like a 300 Mercedes, with the hard top. And the way he got hit was like right in the middle of his head. And she was like, "Wait, how did you get hit on top of your head?" She was like, what did you get hit with? Because the middle of his head was split. And he was like, "Well, I was talking to her outside and I got hit by her husband." Now, in my mind, I'm reading the book, right? But books and stories. I'm reading the books and I'm like, how did he get hit? He's inside a car. He get hit in the middle of his head. That doesn't sound right. But, she did not I don't think she knew. She was young and he was like older than her. I think she was in her 23s and he was in his 37 or 38. Um and then I was like, I'm reading the book. I'm like, nah, he was inside the house messing with his African baby mother. The husband came home. The husband saw them two having sex, and the husband decided to hit him on top of his head. That's how he got injured. He didn't get injured while sitting in the car outside, but I kept reading. So then after that, things just went crazy. So then that's when the wife decided, "Hey, I want to bring, my mother from the other city to where I'm at because I'm all by myself." So she thought she was doing the mother a favor because it's a new city, it's a new opportunities, right? So then the mother came from the new city. Now the mother had Section 8. I'm telling you, this book, I gotta find you guys the name. It's so good. Like books like this, I was like, oh, it don't even look like a good read because I can't find it, but it's a good read. So the mother had Section 8. So the mother moved to a new city with the Section 8, right? So the mother had a brother, and the brother did not like the mother. So the mother was, with Section 8, you can't really you can't, if you work, you gotta report. So the mother was like selling stuff because, like I said, she's from Africa, so she's used to like the market and stuff like that. So she would go to the flea market, sell her little items, and have a little money to just take care of her little bills. So then during tax season, the brother was like, "Hey, if you say you're making a business, if you have a business, um, you would get more money back." And the daughter was like, "Hey, that doesn't sound right. I wouldn't do that because you remember you on Section 8 and they look at stuff like that. And if you don't report it to them, they're going to take you out of the Section 8. And she did not listen to her daughter. She listened to her brother. So when she did the tax, Section 8, the government saw that. So they called her and was like, "Hey, we got to terminate your Section 8. So instead of blaming the brother, she blamed the daughter. She said to her daughter, "Hey, it's because you moved me here. That's why I lost my Section 8, not because I listened to my brother and made a stupid move with my taxes and claimed that I had a business." So that was another thing that she already had animosity and hatred for the daughter, but this topped it off. So then She had an older daughter from Africa. So the older daughter finally got her passport from Africa to come to the United States. So the older daughter came to the United States. And the older daughter came to visit with the mom, the lady that got married, that was staying in another city with the husband that got cracked, hit in the head. So when they came to visit her, the mother and her older sister already did, like, I guess juju, they call it. They already did juju, like spells, casting and stuff like that. So she has her mother doing spells on her, and now she has her older sister doing spells on her. And then she now has the African baby mother doing spells on her. So she has like three people doing spell on her, and plus she has the baby father sister doing spells on her. Hold on, let me go get it back on my charger. I had to go get my charger. My phone was charging, but all of a sudden it just stopped charging. It's just weird, but it's normal. So, all right, now it's saying it's not charging, but anyways, right? So, okay. So, so the sister and the mom came to the house, already had like juju and whatever, already like had a spell to break her family up, right? So she thought they were just coming over to just like, see her, but little did she know that they was already together, made up a plan to put spells and spirit in her house to break up her happy house. Her and her husband never fought. If they did fight, it was like little here and there, but after the mom and the sister left, and then the African lady leaving the Jeep there, they started having like really, really bad fights, right? The husband. So then, um, so then, like a month or two went by, right? Somehow she was there with her husband one night, and something told her husband was cheating. So she was like, I'm not gonna sleep with him no more because I know he's cheating. She would have girls call the house, and one of the girls was like, hey, I been know your husband. One girl called the house at like 3 a.m. and was like, oh, I know your husband before you, and I'm gonna know your husband after you, right? So then she was like, damn, okay. I mean, this book is so juicy, right? So then she was like, oh, okay, no problem. So she stopped having sex with him. So then one night he was like, I don't know, he was drunk out of his mind. And she had the baby. By now they had two babies. So she had the little baby in her arm, and he came home and he wanted to go ahead and have sex with her. And she refused. As she refused, he would argue, he would like yell in front of her and the kids. But with when the African lady kids were there, he would not argue, he would not raise his voice, he would not say nothing, right? But when the African kids lady left and it was just the lady kids there with them, he didn't care what he do. He would fight the lady, he would argue with the lady, he would so the lady put the kid to sleep, right? And she went to sleep in the other room. As she was sleeping in the other room, she locked the door, he opened the door, he came to her, started ripping her legs off, and she was like, stop. She was crying. She thought because of the tears that he would stop, but he did not. And when she looked up, she saw his eyes, like his whole eyes was just black, like there was no white, nothing. It was just like straight black. She got scared, and she was like, okay, something's not right with her husband. That's no longer her husband, right? So then he would rip her like leg just to have sex with her. So then he was like, really pissed me the fuck off was like when he said, "Oh, I can go ahead and hurt you without leaving any scars on you. I can hit you in places and hit you in a certain way without leaving scars on you." So she was like, "Okay, it's time for her to go." So she left. She went in and got another, like, she went and got an apartment of her own. And so she's, she started getting her stuff together. Then she met this other guy, an African guy. And things were going well. And, he decided to, show off and whatever. So she went and, she was comfortable. She started going out with him. And this African guy decided to take her to, like, his homeboy shop. Little did she know it was a voodoo shop or juju shop. I don't know, whatever they call it. And one of his homeboys' friends was like a voodoo priest, right? So then when she was sitting there, something just whispered in her ear, "Slap him." So she got up and slapped the voodoo priest, right? And her friend, there you go. Her friend was like, "What?" So her friend separated her, took her home. And then the next day, her mom called and was like, "Oh, I got I got I got slapped at the bus stop. I was at the bus stop and some guy walked up to me and slapped me." She should have put that two and two together, but she didn't. So then the African friend, the guy friend was like, "Oh, I'm going to make sure that your life is ruined. How dare you put your hands on me?" And he started like waving, items and stuff like that to curse her. So then like months went on, and the African guy that she was dating was like also doing spells on her, and she did not know. So the African guy knew her mom, knew her husband. They all knew each other because they all was in this like spiritual group, and she did not know that they knew each other. It was like they were jumping bodies just to mess with her, but it was like the same energy but different bodies. But she did not know. She thought it was just different people, not knowing she was meeting the same people. So then things went on, months went on. The husband came back and was like, "Oh, I want my family back, come back home." So she went ahead and went back home. When she went back home, things just got worse. So the husband had a neighbor, a guy neighbor. I don't know if he was from like the islands. He was from the islands. So the neighbor was kind of like, she never seen the neighbor before. And all of a sudden the neighbor and him started getting close. But before she left, she never seen that neighbor, right? And then the neighbor started getting fresh with the wife. And she was like denying him. But the neighbor was like, "Oh, we're both, we're not American. Me and you should be able to get along better than. But she was like, "No, I'm married. I don't understand you talking to my husband. You guys are friends." And he was sneaky with it. He was doing an underhand kind of bullshit, right? So then um she went to sleep and something whispered to her. She woke up and she was like, "Listen, wake up, wake up." And she looked and it was a lady with blonde short wig. Like it was a blonde. She was dark skinned with blonde short hair. And she saw the lady. She was like, the lady was showing her how she was doing like spells on her husband would manhood. And she was like, "Oh," the lady also told her, "Listen, look." She pointed to the neighbor and she saw her husband and the neighbor. She saw her husband gave the neighbor her period pad. And I was like, "Bitch, ain't this some shit?" I was like, I'm telling you, when I pick a book, I pick a good book. I mean, in my book, that's why I be like, zone the fuck out with y'all. But she saw her husband bring the island guy her period pad. And the lady was like, look. So she kept looking, and the island guy took her period pad, buried it underneath his yard. And she saw the guy doing some kind of like, spiritual BS. But it was her husband who took her pad to the guy. So then she was like, she said, it's nothing. That's just probably just my mind playing with me, or I'm asleep. But she wasn't asleep. She was wide awake, right? So a month after that happened, the husband asked for a divorce. So she was like, okay, fine, I'll divorce you. And like they went through the whole divorce process. While going through the whole divorce process, let me tell you, baby, this book right here will have you croop. So while they were going through the whole divorce process, during Memorial Day, like Memorial Weekend, right? She forgot about her slapping the voodoo guy. So the voodoo guy was doing now. So the voodoo guy was doing spell on her. Her mother was doing spell on her. Her sister was doing spell on her. Her husband, African white baby mother, was doing spells on her, and her husband's sister was doing spell on her. So now she got 5 people doing spell on her. So she went shopping, getting ready. She did her little shopping for the kids. She did her little shopping for herself. So she's driving. She has her car, insurance, everything. So as she's driving, she's at a red light. Then she see a sheriff behind her. As she's looking, she's like, okay, well, I'm driving. I'm following the rules, whatever. She didn't, pay attention to it. So she stopped at the red light. All of a sudden, the sheriff turned on the light. So she went and pulled to like a hotel in the parking lot, right? So she was like, hey, my window is not working, so I'm gonna have to open my door to let him know. So he was like, fine. So he came over, and she was like, why did you stop me? And I wasn't breaking any rule. The sheriff was like, well, you're wearing headphones, and you're not allowed to wear headphones and using your phone. And she was like, well, I bought these headphones because I thought you couldn't drive with your cell phone. And I guess the way she was questioning him, he got really upset. He decided to drag her out of the car, slam her on the floor, rip her the seatbelt. Mind you, she was still in her seatbelt, so he had to yank her out of her seat, rip the seatbelt off, throw her on the floor, and manhandle her. And she was wearing her like nurse uniform because she had to go to work that day. And he arrested her while she was in the car, in his car. He was like, oh, I'm gonna make sure that you never work in the nursing fields. And she was like, why did you arrest me? I didn't do nothing. All of this is not normal, but in her mind, she's like, okay, maybe she just met a bad police officer or sheriff. Little did she know, this is all the witchcraft, all the voodoo, and all the Masonic, Easter Star, Easter Star Brotherhood, Masonic Brotherhood, witches and warlock working against her. So then she got arrested, and when she got to jail, she found out that she was being charged with a felony for resisting arrest and battery on a police officer. She was like, how could I do that? This guy is like 6'1", 350 pounds, and he arrested me for no cause. But little does she know, this was the African voodoo priest doing that she slapped at the shop. But she didn't really slap him. It was her mother that was making her do all this. But she didn't know because she thought her mother was just a regular mother. So life went on. So she's now in jail. She's facing a divorce. And she's in jail. This is her first time in jail. The judge gave her no bond. So the judge that she had originally, for some reason, the mother went back to Africa. When the mother went back to Africa and came back, they all of a sudden changed the judge. The first judge was like, oh, I'm finna throw this out because there's no way she could overtake this man, so I'm finna throw it out. And little did she know, the mother was there with her on the first court date. So when the mom heard that, she ran to Africa. When the mother came back, they changed her judge to a judge where the judge did not want to hear nothing, did not want to see anything, did not want to hear the motherfucking thing. The judge was like, you're guilty. You're going to stay with that charge regardless. And she's like, why did they change me, judge? Her mother was in the background playing all this, and they all know each other. The mother, the judge, they all know each other. They all know each other spiritually. Okay, so she was facing that. And then after facing that, she had to face the divorce court. So after facing the criminal charges, right, she went to the divorce court. This book is amazing. So as she's facing the divorce court, the husband, he had a little money. So the husband went and got a lawyer. She didn't have any money because she used all her money to fight, to try to fight the criminal charge. Now, mind you, this is all happening at once, not a year, it was back to back. So now the surprise is the same judge that the husband and her went to divorce is the same judge that handled the African mother child support. So he was paying the African mother child support like almost $2,000. She didn't know. She did not know. The wife did not know, but that he was paying $2,000 to the African lady. So the same judge, now mind you the same fucking judge that took care of the child support case for his African baby mother is the same judge that the lady and him went and got a fucking divorce. When they got to the courthouse, the lady did not get anything at all. So the lady was like, well, I can't support myself because I can't work. I lost my nursing license and now I'm facing a felony. And the judge was like, well, I can't do nothing about it. It would have to be 50-50. So she decided, like, how am I going to take care of the kids? And I'm facing all this. So she decided, you know what? I'm just going to leave the kids with the husband. And she left the kids with the husband because she didn't want the kids to struggle, or she didn't want to go back to her mother with the kids because she already sensed that mom was on some BS. So she was like, what better person to leave the kids with is her husband. So she left the kids. So she decided to leave and just defend on her own. So years went by. She went oh fuck, I forgot. Okay, so years went by. She was like, she was homeless, no money, no help, nothing, not even her family. She didn't go to her mom because she already sensed something was, wrong with her mom. Like her mom had something. That's when she started waking up that her mom had something to do with it. So then damn. So then, she started facing problems because, she's not American. She's African. She started facing problems. No, she had to renew her green card. So by then, she got her foot together. She met this Jamaican guy. This Jamaican guy started helping her make money because he had a business. So this Jamaican guy started helping her make money, and she started making real money. So she got her place, she got her little car, and then she went back and picked up the kids and stuff like that. And every time she picked up the kids, right, she would feel like, oh my God, I don't feel like when she's driving, when she leave home, she would feel good. She doesn't feel anxiety, nothing like that. But when she picked up the kids, she would feel dizzy driving, lightheaded, like she was sick. And she started noticing that, and she started paying attention to little stuff like that now. So then one day she was like, okay, after like numerous times she would drive 5, 10 hours away and go pick up the kids on, on the weekends and bring them back to go to school. She one day she picked up the kids and she started feeling really dizzy and could not see on the road. Now when she was driving to pick up the kids, she didn't have no issues. But when she picked up the kids and was going home, she started feeling dizzy and weak and like could not see. And she was like, something's not right. Because I didn't feel like that going. Why am I feeling like that coming back with the kids? And every time she would pick up the kids would have like white spots on their hair. The kids would look dirty, like they wasn't taken care for, like the father did not care at all. But she noticed that he would take care of the other kids he has from the African lady. And she was like, okay. So every time she picked up the kids, she would fix the issue. She would fix their hair, she would clean them up. And then when the final time she dropped off the kids, the ex-husband came to her and was like, oh, are you happy you asked for this divorce? Now look at you and the kids, they're suffering. Do you want to keep coming in and out of their life? And she's like, I didn't ask for this divorce. You asked for it and I agreed to it. And every time she would pick up the kids, it was like he wanted to argue and argue and argue. So then the youngest kid started crying. The youngest kid started crying, was like, oh, I want to go with mommy. I want to go with mommy. But he did not give a damn because the wife wasn't hurt. The wife kind of was like happy that she got the fuck away from him. So his only control now was the kids. The only way for him to hurt her was because he has the kid. And you know, her mother, to find out her mother was her handler. And when she left her mother's house, the husband became her handler. So it was like they kept the kids to keep track and an energy connection with her. So they'll still have that connection with her because they are they are her handler. They are the one that feeding off of her. She didn't know she was a power source for them, source of richer and, wealth for them. So she's just, she knows now, but she didn't know the depth of it. So once she went home and she was like, oh, I don't feel good. So she called someone and the person told her, hey, your ex-husband is doing spells on you for you to get, in an accident while you're on the road with the kids. So she stopped going. Once she dropped off the kids, she stopped going. So instead, she sent off packages to the kids. So one time she sent the packages to the kids, right? The ex-husband had his neighbor sign for the package. So it shows to the court that she's not trying at all. So when she went to, I don't know, she went to one of those UPS, FedEx. She was like, did they get the package? They were like, no, somebody else signed for the package. And it was like 2 doors down from the house and she was like, okay, I see what's going on. So she just stopped communication. So she bought a cell phone for the kids. And one day she was trying to talk to the kids. The ex-husband took the cell phone, was like, oh, you might as well not come in their life. You keep coming in and out of their life. And she called the next time, the cell phone was not answered. So life went on. She saw what's going on. She was like, okay, I don't want to die because he's doing spells, he's doing magic, he's putting the magic on the kids. And every time I go pick up the kids, I feel weak and I'm driving. And, I don't want to put the kids in danger. So she tried to send the kids packages and he denied it, had the neighbors sign for it. So things went on. As that went on, she went and met another guy from and yeah, he was from Africa. Now this guy she met, She did not know that this guy was a DL. So this guy is a DL, but she did not know. So they moved in, they had a relationship, and the guy also knew of her mother and spirit. But she didn't think that because she's like, okay, this is a new city. This is a new guy. So there is no way that nobody should know each other. So one day, the guy asked her to marry. So she went ahead and married him. They went to the beach. She had her wedding ring on. They went to the beach. They love going to the beach, right? So the guy and her was sitting there, and he went in the water. As she was sitting at the beach, she saw a mother and a daughter. Now, this mother and daughter looks different. And she kept saying to herself, she was like, why is there a smell? It smells like acid and funk. And she kept saying that, what is that smell? What is that smell? And then she looked on her like side. She see the mother and the daughter sitting there. The mother and the daughter that was sitting there looked just like her own mother and her own sister, but in different color. But she, in her mind, something kept saying, this is your mother and this is your sister. But she, she's like, this is crazy. They're obviously a different color, so they couldn't be my sister. But it kept screaming, this is your mom. And she kept saying, what is that smell? It's a smell. It's a smell. It's a smell that's not human. It's a smell that's like on, I don't know. So she was like, she didn't pay no attention to it. So the husband, the second husband, came back from the water, and he sat next to her, and he was like, hey, where's your ring? And she looked on her finger, and she was like, I have my ring on. There's no way that my ring is missing, because she never took off her ring. And her husband was like, wait, that's true. You never take off your ring. How is it that your ring is gone? You never take off your ring, not even to like do anything. You always had your ring on, and I am sure that when you left the house, your ring was on your finger. So they look everywhere. The ring, her wedding ring, was gone. And so she started saying something's not right. So when the mother and the daughter that was sitting next to her saw that they were looking for the wedding ring, it was like they went in a hurry to pack. It was like hurry up, she knows. So they took their stuff and they left. So the wife and the husband, they started arguing at the beach and to look for the ring. So when they went back home, the ring was sitting on top of the counter. And both of them stood at the door shocked and said, something is not right, because we both know that you left the house with the wedding ring on. And we went and we got videos of you wearing the ring, because we took videos because we were looking good before we went to the beach, and it shows that your wedding ring was on. So how did your wedding ring get lost and out of your finger, and now that we're home, your wedding ring is on the table? Okay, so then time passed, a month passed. The husband and her started arguing and fighting. They never fought, they never argued, but they started arguing and fighting. And then the husband lost his job, and then things just chaotically happened. So they got divorced. And then now that husband is now, to find out that that husband is now messing with her sister. One of her husband had SCX with her sister and got her pregnant. So she's like, fuck it. She's gonna leave it. She knows, it's like she knows everything. It's like she has this person, this thing that tell her, it's like even this person or thing that tell her, she could see step by step everything that happened to her, but she did not believe it because she was like, maybe, it's this book right here. Okay, so I'm getting to it. So then she moved. She went to, I think it was like Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville, Florida. So she's there. She was like, what am I going to do? No money, no nothing. So she met this lady, and this lady started telling her about escorting. So then she was like, oh, okay, well, all right. I don't have nothing else. I tried everything else. It seemed like everything else is blocked for me. So she started escorting, right? And she was making money, like real money. So when she started escorting, she noticed that it was nothing but like military guys that kept coming to her. And um then she started, like, because she was making like money, she started getting attention from these pimps and stuff like that. And it was one pimp in particular. He came in as a customer. When I tell you, this book is amazing. This book, I gotta find you guys the title. I gotta find you the title. But he came in as a customer to test her out, and she already know. Before she opened the door, somebody told her, hey, be careful, this is this person that he's pretending to be, but be careful. So I guess he was gonna set her up or try her or something like that, I'm not sure. But in turn, he fell in love with her, so he started like protecting her. And he was one of those, it was like, I don't know if he was a pimp that, like, yeah, he was a pimp, and he was trying to seize to see if she would be one of his girls. But somehow he was like, no, she's, he didn't do anything to her, but he just kept attention on her to try to have, like, he didn't want her to be one of his girls, but he like was the kind that would like snitch and call the police, or have a undercover police officer come to her as a you know. So, but she still somehow was able to just like not get into any issues, right? And then when she noticed that, she was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to like find me a regular job because things are getting way out of control. And then she noticed that it was like a lot of people just watching her and monitoring and watching her pocket. She was like, okay, I'm gonna get out of this. But so she got out of there. But then when she went into her apartment, she noticed that the military, but I tell you, this book is amazing. This fucking book had me, I read this in one sitting. In one sitting, I read this. I read this in an hour. I couldn't put it down. So she noticed that the military was watching her. But the military was watching her from the guy. Remember the guy that the African guy that she went and slapped his friend? Okay, so the guy was also military, and somehow he made up a fraud, like a fake report about her being a terrorist or something like that. So the military already was like watching her, but now they were watching her, really watching her in Jacksonville. And they would send their decoy, they would send their men to sleep with her as clients. And I guess they were trying to catch her in the action, but each time the men that they would come to, for some reason, they would just like try to take care of her. They would try to protect her. So, okay, what was I? So she went in and got her place, and she noticed that every time she would be home, she would see people looking at her window. And she was like, okay, she doesn't know anybody, but people are looking at her window. Then one day she pretended like she was going to the store, and then she noticed a uniform military person just going around her property. And she was like, okay, well, why would they, she has nothing to do with the, whatever. So she didn't pay no attention to it. And then one day she saw this guy walking around her place, and she was like, what do you want? Why are you walking around my place? And he just started running. Then the next day, two ununiformed cops came knock on her door and service her, and it was a service from her first ex-husband about child support. And she called the court, and the court was like, well, we don't have anything to do with that. We don't have your name or anything. We don't even have you in our system, so we didn't send you anything. And she was like, no, I was served, and there was this court order stuff. And she was like, they were like, no ma'am, we don't have nothing to do with that. I don't know what's going on, but as far as us, we don't have anything. And she was like, oh, so this was all fake. And then she was like, okay, so the person that's been watching her is also, the military is watching her. Now her ex-husband has a private investigator and someone that's in the court, that's working in the court, that's able to type up paperwork like that. So she's like, damn, okay. When I tell you, I was like, oh my God. So when she saw that, she freaked out, left everything, took, everything. She just left and she went into another place. So she started making money. She went back into the escort thing again. And she was like, okay, she just kept hustling for a whole 3 months. She was like, I'm going to hustle for a whole 3 months and then make enough money to buy me at least a house or a condo or a land. But little does she know, she's thinking she's traveling, but she's really not traveling. It's so weird. It's freaky. She's thinking she's traveling to these new states, but it's not. She's driving, but somehow it's like the Matrix is tricking her, thinking that she's traveling to these new places, but she's really not. And she's traveling to the same places, but it's like they're changing the environment, but it's the same roads, it's the same people in different faces and different. But let me tell you, this book had me, baby. I said one setting, I read this in one setting. So she traveled. So she started making money. She made enough. So she started making money, right? She started making money. So then she met this character. I don't know why. I love black authors, but the character was named Tupac, right? He looked like Tupac. Everything was about him. So, and he met her as a customer. He was wearing all black. He came to see her, and he had a manhood on her. I mean, on him, like big and heavy and like just ridiculously long. So then she was like, okay. And she noticed, she was like, why am I meeting these guys wearing nothing but black? So she started paying attention to that. And she asked him, because he kept seeing her over and over and over. So she was like, why are you always wearing black? And you're not the only person that comes to see me with always wearing black. And he started giving her, he was like, man, I'm going to tell you the truth. I've been pimping you out. I've been seeing you, and we know I'm not the only one. I'm a pimp, and I have girls working for me, and we see you. We see you moving, we see you working, we see you, and we have customers. We have customers. We even pay customers to come see you. And you've been getting good reviews. And he was like, you got to be careful, because we noticed that you're by yourself. You don't have a pimp. You don't have a bodyguard. You don't have nobody but yourself. So he was like, I'm going to go ahead and help you out. And because he was like, man, you seem like a real good person. You seem like a real good girl. You're not supposed to be even doing this. So I'm going to sit you down. So he set her, man, let me tell you, this book right here. I'm going to find you guys the title. And he was like, I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to tell you what to look for, how to handle yourself. And he was like, I see that you ain't got no protection. You can't be walking around here with no protection. So he went ahead and got her a little safety device. And he was like, this is what you need to look for. This is what you need to look for, and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, as long as you here in this city, I'm the whatever of this city. And he was like, as long as I know you, you good. You got my protection. And he was like, I ain't gonna do nothing wrong to you because I like you. Now, you know, I like you and you're different. So he took her under his wings, and he wasn't pampering her. He wasn't, you know, but he was just teaching her how to handle herself better. And it was like every time they would send in a killer or a killer to kill her or someone to pimp her out, that killer or that pimp turned into her guardian angel. So he was like, just, you know, make your money and try to like get out. But while you here, you under my safety, you under my, you know, you good. And he was like, okay, even with the cops, because it was baby, it was the pimps and the tricks and the cops and governments and all these, they all know each other, right? So he was like, you good, you in my city, you good. So they started hanging out, and for, you know, as long as she was there, she made her money. And he was like, I got you. So she made her money, and then she kept having these visions where she would see this he-she. And this he-she wasn't just a regular he-she. It was a famous he-she. And this famous he-she would come in a limo and just watch her at a distance. This he-she would send decoys to watch her. And she was like, why am I having this vision? So, and it wasn't like she was asleep. She would basically see the step by step. So she made enough money and she moved to Houston. Now, in the book, Houston wasn't Houston. Houston was Las Vegas. Houston wasn't Houston. Houston was Las Vegas. And in the book, while she was driving to Houston, Houston was covered in a dome, and there was aliens on top of the dome, like covering Houston like it was a, I don't know, like it was a set up stage, right? So when she saw that, she was like, what in the world? And she was like, I'm supposed to be going to Houston. Why am I in Las Vegas? And then when she was going, it was like she had to cross this bridge, and the bridge was like rainbows, and it was like big, and it was crystals and everything. And then she saw the dome, and then she saw that like it was like a 6G like video game Houston was, but it wasn't Houston, it was Las Vegas. And she's seen these ships around it. So then she was like, oh, how am I supposed to get in? Where am I supposed to get in, right? It took a whole new turn. So then she was, as she was coming into Houston, it was a big church. And it was the biggest church she ever seen. And on top of that church was two big ass monsters sitting on top of the church. And she was like, she didn't know. She was like, am I dreaming or is this really happening? And then she was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna take it as it is. And she was like, am I the only one able to see this, right? So she saw the big monsters sitting on top of the church, and they were just looking at her, and they were watching her. And she was like, she looked up at them. So, but as she drove in, she noticed that the same she was having like a group of people just watching her, monitoring her. So she didn't say anything. She didn't, she didn't bother or whatever. So she went in Houston / Las Vegas, whatever. And one day she was sitting and she was like, she saw the she came to her, and the she had another person with him, and they were together, and the he, she, and the other person changed into like this being that was like 60 something feet. And they came to her and they were like, we've been watching you. um it's like they know she was supposed to be a star or a well-known person, but they were the one putting obstacles, like her mother, her ex-boyfriends, her ex-husbands, everybody that she met. They were the one that placed those obstacles and those people in front of her so she would not get to the point where she was celebrated and being welcome as what she is. It was those two beings, the he, she, and some, I don't know. So, and then the money that she saved up, she started calling people. She was like, she called realtors, she called bankers, she called everybody that she called. Nobody answered the phone, so she had no other choice but to go ahead and get a place, a rental place. The manager that rented her the place asked her for her like checking amount to see, source of income, because she wasn't working. So the manager saw that she had $40,000 in her account. The manager was a Mexican lady, so the Mexican lady came up with a way to tap into her account, a bank account, and started draining and taking her money. Now the Mexican lady knew the she um entity, giant, evil, whatever. They knew each other. So everybody knew each other. Everybody knew each other except she did not know what was going on. So then she noticed that her money just kept going down, down, down. And she was like, something's not right. So I should have enough money to stable myself for 3 years without working. But she noticed every time it was like little here and there where it wouldn't be like, it wouldn't seem a big deal, but it was just going, it was just disappearing. So then she went in and had a crush. So she had a crush on this guy. She decided to say something to the guy, right? And the guy was like, I don't know, the guy was on something. And so the guy was like, so the guy started like making fun of her, and he was like, oh, how dare she think that I would want someone like her? And instead, he was also where the he, she was. The he, she was like well known, and they were like God. They were like not gods, but they were like deities and angels or aliens or whatever the fuck they. So the guy was like, oh, so the guy, him and his friend decided to play a little prank and played this like little setting on. They went in, they had like a YouTube channel. So they went in and made up a false story about her stalking him, going to his house, and like they were sending like little messages to her, but it was indirectly, but she knew it was to her. And then he was like, I can't be with a, it was like he was saying he can't be with a peasant, and she was a peasant. So she was like, okay, no problem. So she left Houston slash Las Vegas, because she was like, okay. When she left Houston, Las Vegas, she noticed, before she left, she noticed that the same thing. She met a Mexican, and the Mexican was now watching her like the African guy she slapped in the voodoo shop was watching her. And she noticed that the Mexican kept going around her apartment and started doing little, Santa Maria stuff. And she's like, okay, then she started getting alert. So she was like, okay, time to move again. So this time she lost all her money because all the $40,000 somehow just disappeared out of her account. So she decided to keep going. She went to another city in Texas or Las Vegas, because I don't know. The way it was described, it was like it was Texas, but it was also Las Vegas. So she decided to go to another city. So she got a job. She got the job at this other city. And before she got the job, she went to sleep in a hotel. While she was sleeping at this hotel, she didn't know her period was coming on. So she bled through the mattress. As she bled through the mattress, the owners and the manager came, took the mattress, and instead of like throwing the mattress away, they took her period blood. They took her blood again. And the owner and the manager was doing, like, she saw them doing some kind of like, they were Indian, so she saw them doing some kind of like spells in whatever Hindu or whatever. And she's like, okay, she started paying, she started seeing this, and she's like, there is no way, I'm in a new city, why are these same things happening? And she was like, did I really travel? Did I really leave my city? Or am I being played with? Because it doesn't feel like I left my city. It feels like I have not left. It feels like somebody want me to think that I left my city. I'm in a new place, but I'm really not in a new place. I'm meeting new people, but I'm really not meeting new people. I'm just meeting new bodies, but it's the same energy and it's the same city, but it's being changed. Like somehow somebody or something has control to make her think that she's traveling, but she's really not traveling. Like she tried to escape one state, but she really did not escape the one state. She still is there, but they're playing this game in her mind that is making her think she's traveling, but she's really not traveling. She's there at that state because she cannot leave. She cannot leave her handler. She cannot leave that control, I guess, control environment. This is her prisoner place or whatever. But in her mind, they want her to think that she's traveling. So she noticed that the Indian manager and owner took her the mattress. Instead of throwing away and charging her, they took the mattress and started doing some spiritual things to her. And then she was like, okay, something's not right. So she paid attention to that. And then, she saw what they were doing. And then the Indian owner and manager got together with the police, and then they all came together and started watching her. They kept watching her. It was like an alert. Everywhere she went, it was an alert that's being sent out. If it wasn't, it was an alert that was being sent out. So then when she noticed that, she was like, okay, she left. She went to another place. When she went to another place, she met this guy. She wasn't expecting to meet this guy. She met this guy. They develop a, sexual relationship, and the sexual relationship came into a relationship quick and fast. So, but this guy, something about him was off. She couldn't put her hand on it. So it was something about him it was an alert. And she was like, something's not right. So she kept watching this guy. This guy was in a gang, and this guy was also not just a street gang, but also part of the police gang. And she noticed that, and also part of the Masonic or Lodge or whatever, Easter Star, whatever. He was in all that. And he targeted her because he already knew who she was. But she didn't know that he knew who she was. She thought he was just a regular person. But no, he was already assigned to meet her at this place and paid to develop a relationship. So she stayed with this guy. When she stayed with this guy, he would go ahead and buy food for her, and he would slowly, like, he would put poison in the food to try to poison her. And one day she noticed that. She was like, why am I getting sick? Why you bring me food? So she stopped eating. And then they went to a restaurant. Every time they go to a restaurant, she noticed how the people at the restaurant would act. She noticed how the ladies at the restaurants would act. They would act jealous. They would act rough. They would act offstandish against her. And she was like, something's not right. She would watch the people around and how they interact. So then one day, she was working at this regular job. Then one day while she was working at this job, the ladies at this job started, started acting weird and started having like some kind of jealousy. And she was like, there is no way that could be possible. They don't know her. She's new. She don't know anybody in the city. So the only person that she know is her boyfriend. Little does she know, her boyfriend know everybody at that job. And everybody at that job, every woman at that job, either he has been sexing, selling drugs to, or family member. And they all was against her. And so one day she woke up and told him, hey, I had this vision and I saw that you did this and this, that to me. And he was like, don't worry about that. That's not blah, blah, blah. And exactly how she told him the vision is exactly how it happened. When she saw that, she left. So she went to another city. And each time she goes to another city, she thinks it's going to be different, but it's not. It's not another city. It's just how the Matrix, or how whatever. It's not the Matrix. She didn't call it the Matrix. She called it something else that was playing the game with her. So she went to this other city. And while she was at this other city, she was like, something's not right. It's off bat. It was just like the energy in that city was not right. It was a military city, military based city, and it had a beach and everything. So she was like, okay, I'm just chilling. You never know what life. So she got a job at this legendary hotel. So she was working there. As she was working there, this legendary hotel was owned. The owners had other legendary hotels, and it was owned by some celebrities, like well-known celebrities too. So she was working there. As she was working there, the manager, the supervisor, they all know of her. Everybody knows of her, except she doesn't know of any of them. She's thinking she's meeting new people, but it's not new people. It's the same energy in different body. It's like a play. They all was doing, you know. So she's there, she's working, and then, she's getting herself together. And at that time, she was sleeping in her car. So as she was like, but nobody knew of her business. And the supervisor was a black guy, and her co-workers was mostly white that worked at the front desk. She was the only black girl or person that worked the front desk. Everybody else that was her own color was either housekeeping or bar. So she was there working, minding her business, and then jealousy started setting in. And then her supervisor started, I don't know, jealousy started getting into his heart. And then one day, one of the white women decided to call her a bitch. Now, the white woman was pregnant, and the other white woman wasn't. And they all clicked up together. And then there was another black woman that was working the front desk. Yeah, there was another black woman that was working the front desk. Now, this other black woman was, she would carry her Bible. She would present herself as a Bible preaching person, but actually she was a witch. A witch. She wasn't powerful, but she know what she was doing. She was a witch. Now, the the black woman and the black guy supervisor, they knew each other and they knew of her. They already knew that she was going to come to this place. They already knew how to play their role. And they already knew that their job was to push her button and to put spells on her. So meanwhile, she's just traveling places to places where witches and warlocks keep putting spells and hacks and blockage and curses on her, right? So she saw that, and she was like, when the white lady called her a bitch, and she wanted to, you know, but she was pregnant, so she walked out. She called the supervisor and was like, listen, I gotta leave. I'm leaving this job because, you know, she called me a bitch and I don't want to put my hand on her. So the instead of the black supervisor try to like help her out, he would kind of make her feel like it was her fault. And then that bring a bell to her. She was like, oh, you know how it was like the black slave, you know, had a master, and because it was the house nigga against the field nigga, and she was the field nigga and he was the house nigga, and she kind of like felt that way. So she was like, okay, so he's one of them too. So she left. As she left, she went in. She was in her car. She went to another city. No, she went to another she went into another city. As she went into another city, she noticed that the same people from that legendary hotel, because she had an argument or an altercation with the white lady that called her a bitch. And so the white lady got another housekeeper, which was a black lady, and they tried to like follow her. So that she noticed that the housekeeper and the manager got together, and she noticed that they kept sending spells. So they sent a spell of death after her while she was in her car. So she was driving her car. And somehow she made a U-turn, and then she looked both ways. There was nobody there. And as soon as she made the U-turn, boom, there was a person, and it totaled her car. So as she was in the car, it was like, you know how movies go in and out and you could see each character. So as she was in the car, she noticed out of nowhere, people just rush. And everybody that was there, they had a smirk, laughing, joker kind of expression, like, yeah, we got you. We finally got you. And she noticed that everybody that was there was placed. It was like they were placed. It was like agents that were placed to act like normal people. It was like angels and demons and spirits that was placed around her to act like normal people. So then when she got there, she's sitting there and she looked on her right hand side. She noticed this black lady sitting in a van. No, it was a SUV. She noticed this black lady sitting in an SUV. And then something say, alert, alert, alert. When she looked up, she noticed the black lady dangling some kind of conjuring and saying a prayer and pointing to her. And she looked at her and she smiled. When she smiled, it was like a devilish like smile. And the black lady said something to her, and she's like, the black lady said, I got you. Just like that. And she was sitting there in the accident while everybody else around her would. So the accident, there was a church in front of her. There was a cemetery in the back of her. And there was like some kind of like water near her. And while the black lady that had the conjuring, she was sitting on the side with the water, and she was like, I gotcha. And she was like, she said, am I seeing this right? Am I seeing this right? And then everybody else, the police, the fire, the witnesses, they all was, it was like they all was against her. It was one fire one fire, what would they call it? Fire tech? Yeah, fires tech, whatever, that came to aid her to make sure that she was okay. And he wiped the glasses off of her. And her car was totaled. Her car was totaled. And he was like, the guy was like, this is not your fault, is it? And she kept shaking her head. And he was like, if something's not right, is it? This is the fire tech, whatever what they call it, fire technician that came. Everybody else is taking care of the other person, the witnesses, everybody. All it was like they all gathered together to point and like was like, oh, this is the greatest sacrifices we ever did. We, even the people from the church came and was like, oh yeah, we're here to witness your downfall. And it was only one fire station tech, whatever. And he was like, I could see what's happening. And it was like she kind of felt like she had one angel by her side, and it was him. And it was like he had, all she could remember was his eyes. And he was like, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure everything's okay. And then she looked, as he was talking, she looked to see if the lady, the black lady with the conjuring, was there. She was gone. And then it was like she came back. When she came back, he picked her up and was like, this accident was for you to die, but you did not die. You didn't even have a scratch on you, but you were meant to die in this accident. And it was like he kept saying everything that she knew, but he was saying like, you are what you know is correct. So she was like, okay. And he was like, I'm gonna make sure you're okay. So then that happened. So she the car was her house. The car was everything. So that got destroyed, and she was like, she was left with nothing. So then she was like, what am I gonna do? So she bought her a ticket, got on the Greyhound, and came to a new city again. So while she was in this new city, she didn't have no family, no friend, no money, no nothing. She just kept walking, and she was sleeping in the street. While she was sleeping in the street, she was like, okay, I gotta find me a job. So she went in and got her a job at this new place. Now, before she went and got this job, there was an old Indian guy that came to her. Not while she was asleep, but while she was, I guess, I don't know, awake having vision. This old Indian guy came to her and was like, hey, come with me. I have a place for you. My grandson owns this place, and I'm gonna take you there. So she saw that she was traveling, but she was traveling through the stars and not the road. And she was traveling with him. He was holding her hand, and they were traveling through the stars together. And he was holding her hand, and he kept looking at her. And he was like, you're gonna be okay. I'm gonna take care of you. And this old Indian guy looked like a god. And she was like, what does he want with me? And now she's in the vision or a trend. She wasn't asleep. She was in a trend or whatever. And he was like, and they traveled through the stars and clouds. And he was like, I'm going to take you to a place. So next thing you know, she went and got a job. When she went and got a job, she was working at this hotel. Now, the hotel was owned by an Indian family, as usual. So, but the manager at this hotel was a black lady. So, and the supervisor was a black guy. So she got to this hotel, and she's like, I don't know why I keep, coming to these hotels. It's a certain hotel that keeps hiring her. And she's like, there has to be something it has to be a connection, because each time she would go find a job, it would be that particular hotel that would hire her. No matter where she filled out an application, it was always that particular hotel that hired her. And she was like, okay. But this time, she didn't come by herself. She came with that old like he was old. The Indian guy, the old Indian guy that took her there in the vision, it was him that gave her that position. Even though it was the black lady that hired her, but it felt like it was him that took her there. So while she was there, she started getting herself together. And then as she got herself together, she was doing her job. Jealousy set in. Jealousy set in by the manager. Now the manager was a black woman, and the cell director was a black woman. The front desk was a black man, and that setting felt like it was the same characters where she was at, where the boyfriend, the first story where her boyfriend was trying to poison her, and she was working with the boyfriend, side chick in the family. That felt like, now that story felt like it was the same characters that was taken from that part of the story to this part of the story. But she didn't know, because she was like, there's no way, this is a new city, this is new people. Like she was like, I'm far away from them, so whatever. So, she kept working and working. 8 months go by. Now, the manager, the black woman manager, is noticing how well she is working, and how she's getting reviews, and how things are going. And she was like, she's getting some, I don't know, it was like she was getting attention from the owners, or she was getting attention from somebody that the manager did not like. It was like she was taking attention away from her. So instead of the manager, she couldn't fire her because she was doing her job well. Now, the lady was sitting at the front desk. She kept noticing ununiformed military government agents. But this is not the first time she noticed ununiformed military agents. Every time she works at a hotel, it would be ununiformed undercover agents that would come there, act like normal guests or normal customers. But she would know that they are military and they are ununiformed, but they are there for her. So she's sitting there, and she notices that the manager kept, the jealousy, like it was loud, and her energy shift. And she's like, wait, she's the one that hired me, so why would there be any jealousy? And she's the manager, so why would there be any jealousy? In fact, it would be probably better because I'm making her look better in her mind, because you hired me, I'm working well, you would look good, but no. So the jealousy came it became a big monster inside this manager, right? So what she would do, the first time she attacked her, she hired a guy, assistant manager, and the guy came and he tested her, and he was like, I gotta go. He saw something click in him, and he was like, I'm not finna take any part of this karma. I'm not finna take any part of this karma, and I'm not finna be sitting here and get the judgment after all this shit blow the fuck up. So he left, and she was like, okay. So she hired numerous people to try to like disrespect her, try to, like, she would hire a puppeteer, and she would tell the puppeteer, go and do this, go and do that, go and attack her. So in a way, she would be safe in the back. She would be safe from any like accusing of having any part to do with it. So she hired a young lady, another black lady from another hotel, to come be the AGM. So this other lady and the lady, the main character, they were just alike. They kind of even look alike. her work ethic was just like the lady. She worked, she did what she had to do. She was excellent and everything. So they started getting along, they started laughing. And then when the manager saw that, she was like, oh no, we can't have that. I hired you to attack her. I hired you to, do my enforcement. I hired you to do my enforcement. I'm doing my enforcement through you and my bullying through you to her. I can't have you laughing with her and being friend with her. So she gradually like played in the lady mind. So it was the manager, the cell director, the front desk supervisor. They all got together and they played in this lady, the AGM mind, until the point where it was like, oh, we have did everything we could to get rid of her. We target her spiritually. They would go places and do spells. They would do candle magic. They would do altar magic. They would do one time, right? This book, one time she said she was sitting at work, the supervisor, the guy, he was kind of like, he was bisexual. And I know, I think he had a crush, or him and the owner had something going on, or he had a crush with the owner. And maybe the owner, either maybe the owner's son or maybe the owner himself had seen the lady and was like giving the lady praise, and the guests were giving the lady praise, and he became jealous. So one time the supervisor did a spell to do like mind magic on her, and she felt every time she come near him, she would feel him doing his manipulation and mind spell. So she was like, okay, so I have the manager. Oh, it's raining heavy. I have the manager, and I have the cell director, and I have the front desk manager doing spells. So they see that she's not leaving, and they see that they can't fire her because she does so well at her job and the guests love her, but they want her out. So they kept applying pressure and pressure and pressure. So they saw that she did not break. So what they did, they took the AGM and they bullied her to the point where it was like, if you don't do what we say, you're gonna lose your job. Or if you don't go ahead and bully her and make her spaz out or act out of character, you're gonna lose your job. So the AGM, you could tell the AGM and her and the lady was really like they could be good friends, because their work ethic, and they both were like at the same level. But it was like the AGM could not stand up against the manager and the cell director and the supervisor. So it was like she had to sacrifice the lady. So then one day they all got together. The clerk, the agents, and everybody got together, and they were like, we got to get her out of there because she's making us look bad and she's working too hard or whatever. So what did they do? They got together. The housekeeper was a Colombian lady. The housekeeper was doing some kind of, the housekeeper was, it was like everybody was doing some kind of spiritual thing. But the housekeeper left, and then they hired the AGM hired her friend as the housekeeper manager. So now the lady has the manager, the cell director, the front desk supervisor, the AGM, and the housekeeper supervisor. They all was doing witchcraft and spells, and even two of the front desk agents, they all was doing spell. Now she did not know that they all were sisters of Easter stars, baby. They all knew each other. They all was in a group. They all was sister stars, and they all was witches and warlocks, and they all was doing magic on her. So then the AGM started doing little like she would She would do her hair just like the lady. She would do her makeup just like the lady. And the lady was like, you know, she's the kind of person, she didn't pay no attention to it because she was like, okay, you know, whatever. And then she noticed that the AGM, it was like she was trying to copy every move, even the way she was talk. It was like they were grooming the AGM. It's like they like how she work. It's like they like how the lady work. They like everything about her. But what they don't like is the fact that they cannot control her. So they went and got someone that looked like her, that act like her, that can take her position, her essence, her, I guess, destiny. They were trying to do a destiny swap. And so, but they can control this person because they know they couldn't control the lady. So then she started paying attention and she was like, okay. And then she, you know, she distant herself from the AGM because she was like, something's not right about her, the way she's acting. And then when the AGM noticed that the lady stopped talking to her, she would do like little petty stuff and little petty stuff until like she became real disrespectful. When she became real disrespectful, the lady was like, okay, that's enough. I was already disrespected once at a job, and I was already disrespected numerous times. So she was like, okay, that's enough. I'm not gonna walk away. I'm tired of walking away. I'm tired of being the bigger person. I'm tired of being disrespected while all what, you know, when all I'm doing is my job. So she was like, okay, that's it. So she was like, I'm just gonna go to work, mind my business, do what I gotta do, and go home, because you know, whatever. So then one day she came to work. The front desk supervisor, which is the black guy, he's always wearing black. So when she walked in, she could smell. It was like a heavy sulfur smell in the air. And then it was something wasn't right. So she walked into work. And then before she walked into work, the old Indian guy that brought her there in the trend, you know, when she was in the vision, he came to her and he was like, listen, my family is fighting. My family is fighting. They don't want to give you your peace. And she's like, what do you mean they don't want to give me the peace? He was like, my family is fighting. My family don't want you to have this. And she's like, she couldn't understand what he meant. And he was like, you were supposed to be, something, I don't know, quote unquote, but like, it was like he was saying she was supposed to be part of the family, but because she was, you know, she wasn't Indian, the family did not agree with it. So they were fighting, and that fighting bled to the manager, and the manager was like the master puppeteer in that job. And so it was like the family was controlling the manager, and the manager was controlling everybody around the lady. So it was like, but the old Indian guy, he was like, it was like he was a ghost, but uh, um a guardian also. But it wasn't like he was a guardian. It was like he was also a family member of hers, but and he was guiding her. So okay, back to, okay, so one day she walked in and she smelled sulfur, and she's like, that's a weird smell. And then she saw the front desk supervisor, the AGM, and the housekeeper all sitting at the front desk, and she could see, it was like she could see each step before it took place. And she's like, okay. She tried to like ignore it, but then she kept her distance, and then she went in and tried to like start her job. When she went in, she put her bag down. The AGM brushed and pushed her bag away. And then as she was walking, the AGM bumped her, and she was like, all the lady was like, all you had to say was, excuse me, and I could move out the way. And then the AGM was like, oh, you clock out. You got to go home. Clock out. You got to go home. So the lady was like, I don't mind going home. Just write it down that you sending me home. She's like, well, I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to do nothing. And the lady was like, yes, you do. Just write it down and I'll leave. So the AGM went inside the back office. And as she was going inside the back office, she was like, fuck you. But she did it where the camera would not, where she would not be seen. So the lady saw that and she was like, oh, okay, no problem. So she was walking to clock out. And as she was walking to clock out, because the clock was in the back, as she was walking to clock out, because after the AGM tell her, fuck you, and she did it where the camera would not see it. So all of this was a setup. So the front desk manager already did his spell casting. He already did his witch, warlock, whatever. He already burned his altar, his spell. And him and the AGM and the cell director and all the co-workers, they all had the little magic thing going on. But she did not know it. She did not know that she was going to be a sacrifice that day. So, but she kind of knew it because the old Indian guy came and told her and gave her a warning. But she was like, you know, whatever. So then she went in the back to try to clock in, and the AGM bumped her again. And when the AGM bumped her again for the second time, she lost it. So they started fighting. And then things happened. So the manager, who they were told was on vacation, but she actually was on another property. So the manager, she had all of this planned out. She had all of this planned out where she could just not get her hand dirty, not be involved, and not be accused. But little does she know that every step that she was doing, the old Indian guy, I don't know if he was a ghost or a like a guardian angel, but it was the old Indian guy was like a great grandfather of the people that own the hotel. But he would come to the lady and tell her everything that was happening. So he warned her, but she was like, I don't know this guy. What the hell? I'm having vision. I'm probably stressed out or whatever. So, and she came to the property and she came back from the so-called vacation, but she wasn't on vacation. She was at their other property. So she had all of this going, right? So the cops were called. The manager came through, and the manager, now mind you, the lady texted the manager several times about the AGM and the housekeeper bullying her. And the manager, it was like every time she told the manager was like, oh, she made lights of it, like it wasn't important. One time, I forgot to say, one time, the housekeeper, this lady she doesn't know, or the lady don't know her, called her Jezebel out of nowhere. And all of these people, they knew of her. All of these people were gang together. All of these people were Easter stars. They were in a lodge. They knew of each other. They knew of each other, but she did not know of them. They all knew of each other. And they knew of her. But she did not know. She's thinking that she's meeting new people, but she's really not. So manager came and she's thinking, well, the manager would say something. Instead, the manager said to the police, oh, she has to be banned from the property. And then she was like, okay. When she heard that, she was like, okay, so I was right. The main cause of the jealousy is coming from you. And it's not only coming from you, but you yourself are being puppeteered by another being. And then she was like, I was right about everything I was shown about you. So then when she was told that she was banned from the property, she left. And as she was driving, she met the old Indian guy came and sat in her car. And he was like, don't worry, don't worry. I'm gonna take care of everything. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm gonna take care of everything. And then she had tears in her eyes. And then I'm not gonna tell you how it ends. You have to read the part. You have to read it to find out how it ends. I'm gonna find you the title to the book because the ending is amazing. But yeah, the old, I don't know if it was like it was like an old great like eight, no, sixth generation grandfather that was a ghost or a spiritual guide that was guiding her to that property. And he was like, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of everything. Don't worry, don't worry. And you know, the part that kind of like messed me up was like when he came to warn her about the family, about the Indian family, and he was like, oh, he said they know of you, but they don't want to give you your table. Yep, they don't want to give you your table. The family, the Indian family that she was working for, the old guy that came to her and communicate with her through the vision, he said they know of you, but they don't want to give you your table because you are of a different ethnic, because you are this and that. They don't want to give you your table. But the ending is amazing. The ending, baby. Not only the ending is amazing. You know, the first AGM, the guy that I told you that the manager hired to attack her, but he was like, oh, I gotta get out of here because I don't want to be a part of this karma. Baby, he made the right choice. But yeah, this book this book is amazing. And then the part is that's the last part I'm gonna give away until you read it, until I find the title. So the last part is that, so now the manager banned her, right? Not only did the manager ban her from the property, but the manager has connection with other managers, because you know they all know each other. These is all witches and warlock where she was fighting against principality. So every time she goes to a job interview, and it would be at a hotel or a different hotel, the managers there already was informed by the manager that banned her. They already know of each other. Even the police that came to the property to report the fight, even the polices already knew of this issue. What's going to happen? It's like the police, the AGM, the GM, the cell director, the supervisor, the owners, they all knew of the plan. They all knew of this. Even the guests that was staying at the hotels that were pretending to be guests, they were also military and government agents. It's like they all knew of this. They all had this plan. And she was going to be their sacrifice. It's like every time or everywhere she goes, she has to be somebody's sacrifice to get either wealth, to get either a business, to get whatever it is. If they're not taking her period blood, if they're not taking her beauty, her essence, it's like they want to destiny swap. They want to clone her. They want to, but they don't have permission. It's like whatever they want from her, they cannot take. They don't have access. They don't have consent. So what they're trying to do is remove her and take whatever good she has and plant it in something or someone else that they can control, because they don't have consent or permission or agreement with her or her spirit or her soul or her creator, whatever, to do what they're doing. So they're trying to make a clone or a copy of her that they can control. But this clone or copy is missing something. And it's in this book. It's in this book, baby. It's in this book. This book, I'm telling you, me and books, I swear I picked the most weird books. But it'd be so nice to just read. So she was like, after she was banned, and she kept looking, even where, like, even the place where she stays, even the place that she's staying, she's being, they have cameras, her neighbors are spied, her like, even the manager that owns, like, that runs the property, that manager knows of the manager in the hotel. They all know each other. Even her downstairs side neighbors, every neighbor around her is also, like, I don't know, like a spy or an agent. So she's surrounded by spies and agent. And then this is the last one. And then she went shopping, and they tried to poison her because she's starting to see everything. So they try to poison her. They send spells through her phone. They send spells through her, like, she could be through her music. They send spell everywhere. They even try to poison her. They went in, and she went grocery shopping, and they went in and, like, and did a, like, a spell for her to have worms, to have bacteria. The, like, I don't know if it's the military, the government, or the hoodoo, voodoo, witches, warlock. They're trying to experiment on her. They tried everything on her to try to see, before, it's like, before they attack everybody else, they attack her to see how she handle it. And if she handle it well, then they know everybody else will handle it well. It's like she's the first to try everything on this book. But baby, they, I'm telling you, they would have been better off. They would have been better off just skinning their, they would have been better off taking a knife and skinning their own skin off their bone. I don't know if, and then it's, I can't get over the old, I don't know if he's a ghost, if he's a guardian, if he's a guiding angel, or whatever, the old Indian guy that kept, and it was like this old Indian guy kept fighting for her. Like, he would fight for her. Like, he would fight and fight and fight for her. But he was like, it's okay, I got you, I got you, I got you. And the weirdest thing, the old spirit or ghost of the Indian guy looks like the owner's son. But she would not say anything. She did not say anything because she herself didn't believe in the vision that was shown to her, until it was like, you know, he would show her vision. But then she didn't pay attention to the warning until it actually came true. The ending, baby, the ending will make you scream. The ending was like, wow, they all deserve what they got. So yeah, this book, I'm telling you, read a book. This book I read in one setting. And look, it took me an hour to read it. And it was, God, it was 381 pages. I'm gonna find the title, and yeah, read a book.